What up? This is Rap HITZ. So I'm gonna tell y'all what's really going on with this Durk case. You see a lot of these bloggers out here, they online talking about it's over for Durk, Durk's cooked. And you see people like Trap Lord Ross and Cut to the Chase, they really think it's over for Durk. They're believing everything the feds are saying with these new charges. They really think this is it for him. And I'm looking at it completely different. I'm looking at it more like someone is probably cooperating, but they're trying to get themselves out of trouble. So they're really trying to overdo Durk. They're seeing that the feds really want Durk. So they're saying, well, shoot, I'll just tell them anything, they want to know. Kind of like what Lil Woody said. He said, basically, he told them it was all thug because they was making it clear that's who they wanted. So this is not the type of testimony I think that's going to take Durk under, because there's either one or two things going on with these new charges. It's either somebody's in there spinning them off. They're trying to, say, hey, Durk did this, Durk, because they know what they want to hear. And then when it's time to testify, they might get up there and help Durk and exonerate him. They might get up there and say, hey, I was forced to say all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Or what the more likely thing is, they're going to get up there and try to say all that stuff about Durk and testify on them. And Durk's lawyers are going to have to prove that these people are just saying this stuff to get themselves out of trouble. That's the motive for them to trump up all these allegations against Durk. So what happened was Durk filed two motions to get his charges dismissed. And as soon as he did that, the feds came in with a whole bunch of stuff to try to keep him in, because the motions to dismiss are pretty solid. So I'm going to go over the two motions to dismiss real quick. One motion was saying basically that this case is weak. There's no real strong proof in it. They had to change their charges once because they found out that the lyrics were not, what they thought they were. They said these lyrics were actually recorded way before, what happened to Quando. So it turns out that they didn't, they went before a grand jury is what this first motion is saying, and said a whole bunch of false things. And then they're trying to change it now and say, well, no, here's what we really got. Just forget what we said earlier. And I knew this was going to happen. This is what I said. I said, you see, people like Trenches News is saying they should have waited till the day of the trial to even say something about that. But what I'm seeing and what I've said before is this is not going to go away. That's a big mistake what they did. And Drew Finley's not going to let that go. They're trying to act like, oh, it's no big deal. We modified the charges. We got rid of that stuff now. Let's focus on what we do have now. That's what they're trying to say. But Finley, Durk's lawyer, is trying to say, no, I'm not letting it go that easy. You know what I'm saying? Y'all went before a grand jury and had all these bogus charges against them, and that's not gonna fly with him legally. He said legally he's gonna use that, and he's not done using it. He's gonna keep going at that and insisting that this was a serious error that should get the charges dismissed. So he's still hitting them on that. And he's not going to give up. And the second motion was about, it's even deeper, because this second motion is about saying that the people who brought the charges, the attorneys who brought the charges against Durk, were not certified legally. So basically, they were put into position, and it wasn't certified that they could even bring a charge against Durk yet. He went and dug up information about the attorneys that brought the case. And he's finding out that, the criteria that it takes to bring a case and the certification involved that is required through the Senate and stuff like that. I guess he's saying that the person that brought the attorney that brought the charges against Durk did not go through the legal process to be confirmed. So they're acting as a general an attorney general without the confirmation that is required. So that makes the whole case null and void, is what he's saying. So he's saying they have no jurisdiction or power to actually bring the case against Durk in the first place. So this is another serious allegation. So not only was the grand jury tainted, he's saying, but now he's saying the ones who brought the case weren't even properly certified. They just kind of fell into the position, probably through a retirement or something. Somebody probably retired, or, they're like an acting attorney. Whatever the case is like that, where, they're filling in. And he's saying that the person that brought the charges against Durk is not certified. So that this is another legal loophole that's going to ultimately probably get Durk out on appeal or even dismissed eventually. If he loses this whole case and you know what I'm saying, he has to get sentenced, they're gonna now they have a lot of ground and a lot of standing now to get this case appealed and tossed eventually. So I think that's why Drew Finley's bringing this stuff up now, is so that he'll have this as ammo just in case he loses the case. They'll be able to still pursue getting this case tossed out as they, you know, they go through the court system, and they might have to go get to the Supreme Court even, you know, to have this go before the Supreme Court. Because at this level, at the lower level courts, they really acting like they don't care. They're saying, nah, this ain't no big deal. We'll just change the charge. We'll just modify the charges, get rid of this, get rid of that. And we don't care if, you know, if they deny both of these requests, that doesn't really matter, because I think what Drew's looking at is the long game and being able to appeal up to higher courts eventually, all the way up to the Supreme Court potentially, you know, if that's what it takes. But he's getting it all the paperwork, you know, going to where, you know, it's all legal right now, where he's getting a paper trail going, where, you know, he's bringing up what he found, and when it comes down to it, yeah, that's not going to fly. You can't charge Durk if you don't have the proper certification. And, you know, like I said, at the lower levels, they'll probably act like, nah, we don't care. We're going to go through with this anyways. That's probably their attitude. That's what it's been so far. You know, they don't care what you find. They're saying, we're gonna push this through, but nah, it's still going to be something for Durk to eventually get out if he does get sentenced and charged and found guilty. But now they're panicking. You see, the prosecutors are now panicking, because now they're coming out with a whole bunch of other stuff. Now they're accusing Durk was trying to put a hit on O Block members. Now look, this is cap. All right, somebody. This is why I said it looks like somebody's either trying to spin off the feds with false information, or they're trying to get out of trouble themselves by throwing everything on Durk. And they're trying to exaggerate the claims against Durk, and they're falling for it, because that's who they want. They want Durk. They don't want the hitters. They don't want the ones that actually went out there and did that. They don't want the obvious ones who paid for the hitters to go out there and organize the thing with the mask. And they said Durk was all behind that. They're saying they really want Durk. They're saying you're the mastermind behind all that. They think Durk is this super criminal, you know, like this O Block member. Well, not an O Block member, but they're putting him like he's King Vaughn or something. Basically, they're acting like Durk is just crashing out and ordering hits on O Block members. You see, the thing with Durk and O Block, Durk was never super cool with O Block. I never really saw Durk overly on O Block. I don't even think I really saw him on O Block, come to think about it. But I know he was cool with Boss Top, and he was cool with King Vaughn. So he has ties to O Block. Plus, they share the same 300, whatever that is. You know, you saw Chief Keef 300 from O Block, right? And then, you know what I'm saying? Seems like O Block is definitely 300, and Durk is 300 too. It looks like, with Little Reese and Durk. They're from Lamron, but they're 300 as well. So there's a connection there. So I know Durk is cool with Boss Top, but I never really saw him hang out on O Block like that. I never really saw him visit O Block like that. So I don't know what his relationship is with O Block for sure, but I don't think he's gonna crash out and try to take members out. I don't think he was out here trying to take members out who didn't comply with Durk's request of sliding for Vaughn. That's what it sounds like they're trying to say, is that Durk got mad at some people at O Block and wanted them gone. He wanted them unalived and out the way. So this sounds like cap immediately. See, the feds are falling for all this because they want Durk so bad. They're so thirsty for Durk. And it's like they're exaggerating to me now. They're willing to fall for anything now just because of how bad they want Durk. And I think that's what's going to ultimately get Durk free, is the charges aren't matching up with what is in reality. You see, that's kind of what happened with the Diddy case. The charges were very trumped up. It's like they wanted him so bad that they threw all that stuff on him, and then it made them look bad in the end, because it looked like, you know what I'm saying, it turned out that a lot of that stuff was just exaggerated, very much so. You know what I'm saying? So with Durk, it's like the same thing, where they want him so bad that it's like they're just believing everything being said about him. let's say, I knew this was, I knew we had the right guy there thinking. Yeah, he wanted these old block members gone. Durk didn't care about taking out nobody from old block. Come on, think about it, y'all. That don't even sound right. You know what I'm saying? Just think about that for a second. You really believe that story, that Durk was what they're trying to say, Moona Duke? It sounds like Moona Duke might have been one of the guys. And so they're really trying to act like Durk. I don't know for sure who they're saying he wanted out the way, but somebody's testifying and saying Durk wanted, Durk told me to take out, you know what I'm saying, so-and-so. So they got an informant, somebody cooperating from Durk's camp, obviously. So people are suspecting it's either Didi or it's Jam or it's Vonnie. You know what I'm saying? That's what people are speculating. That's one of those three. Or it could be a hidden member. It could be somebody hidden that's not even on anyone's radar right now. Whoever it is, somebody's trying to put everything on Durk. And I think Finley can beat this very easy. I don't think that Finley's going to allow somebody trying to get themselves out of trouble to just lie on Durk like that. They're not credible. It's like not a credible witness. See, this is a testimony. When it comes down to the jury, that's what you got to convince the jury of this stuff. So all Drew Finley got to do is expose the one testifying and say, you know what I'm saying, really show that this guy is not trustworthy. You know what I'm saying? His statements is not enough evidence. So I think Drew is going to know how to explain to the jury that you're listening to testimony of somebody that's desperately trying to get out of trouble and pin up everything on Durk and even lie on Durk. Because I don't believe for a second that Durk was out here trying to take out old block members while he's a rising star, like pretty much top 5 in the rap game currently. You know what I'm saying? So he was rising in status. I don't think he's wasting his time worrying about taking out members from old block who aren't listening to him. There would have had to been another motive, and even if there was another motive, I don't think that he would have been playing that game with them. I don't think he would have been trying to take out an old block member for anything, really. I mean, it just sounds ridiculous to me. I don't believe it for a second. My, BS radar goes up when I'm hearing this. It's like I can't see how any of these bloggers could believe this stuff. Like Cut to the Chase and I think Trap Lord Ross and them. It's like they really believe this stuff. They're like, oh yeah. So Durk, look at this. Look what the feds said. It's like, no, the feds want Durk so bad. They want him very bad. They want to take him down. This is what they're trying to take Durk down. So that it's like, to me, I can't even believe they believe this stuff. You know what I'm saying? They're just taking any testimony. So the craziest thing would be if this testimony ends up being someone trying to get on stand, and then they turn on the prosecutor and say, nah, Durk didn't do none of that stuff. I would like Little Woody did. That'd be the ultimate outcome. But I don't know. That's kind of, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But and then now they're trying to say Durk had a watch as well, an Apple Watch, and he tried to destroy it. How does that work? How you got an Apple Watch and you try to destroy it? Because, okay, I guess the way I see that is what would have had to happen is they must have came in unsuspectedly and noticed Durk was on his Apple Watch. I don't know what all you do on them Apple Watches. I mean, but people say you can text and maybe make calls on them. I don't know, but whatever it is he was doing, I guess how I would see that is if he really had an Apple Watch, they might have the CEOs must have saw him on it, and then they snuck up on him while he was on it, and then he would have had to try to smash it against the wall or something and destroy it. You know what I'm saying? Got caught red-handed like that is the only way I could have seen him trying to destroy it. Because otherwise, usually they do raids and they find stuff. He wouldn't have been able to try to destroy it, because when they raid a cell and he's not on it actively and they just find it, how would have he tried to destroy it? Well, grab it out their hand? So that wouldn't make no sense. So I don't believe. I don't know. I mean, he might have had an Apple Watch. I don't know. I mean, if he did, doesn't sound too serious. Because I mean, would Durk be that dumb to really be texting incriminating stuff on that Apple Watch? I don't know. I mean, whatever they find on that Apple Watch, we'll have to see what comes of this. But that's the only thing is like he's messing up with is if he was caught with this Apple Watch, it really is going to come down to what was on that watch. Hopefully nothing. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully it was just normal stuff he was texting if he even had that watch. And hopefully it was just normal stuff like, you know what I'm saying, just BSing on the phone or something, you know what I'm saying. But if he had anything trying to order like witnesses unalived or anything like that, then that's not gonna be good. If they find some stuff like any intention for him to use that watch to like keep ordering people to do stuff in the streets, if they find that, then Durk's cooked. If he was trying to use that watch to like get people to do stuff for him or take out witnesses or anything like that, if there's any indication of something like that on that watch, then he's cooked. But I think he would have known. I think he would have known better though. So we'll see what comes of that. But yeah, that's about it for today, y'all. I just want to know what y'all think about everything. I really, when it comes down to it, I'm gonna let y'all know. As far as him getting this case dismissed, I'd say that's like he got like a 30% chance. I think Drew Finley has some serious legal stuff he brought up that's gonna mess them up in the long run, but I don't know if it's gonna mess them up right now, like in these lower courts. These lower courts don't seem to care about letting them out. They don't want to let them out, and I don't think there's nothing you can do for these lower courts to let them out. So Drew Finley's gonna have to get these things through the higher courts, and I think that's when he's gonna get his victories. Is when, you know what I'm saying, these legal loopholes is gonna matter once he gets to the higher courts, as he keeps appealing these if they turn him down, say, nah, we're not going to drop the case, we're not going to, then all he has to do is appeal, and it goes to the next level up. And then if they deny it, then he appeals again until you can go all the way up to the Supreme Court when it comes to the feds. So at that point, they're going to have to really look at what he's saying, because you're not going to have this bias where they all have each other's back no more. Once you get to the higher and higher courts, they're going to be really looking at the legal things that Durk's lawyer is saying. They're going to really have to look at that, like, oh, this dude wasn't certified, and this grand jury did have false information presented to them, and then they changed it. They in a second, they came up with a second indictment to remove all the false stuff that, this stuff's actually going to matter. I believe it's going to matter when he gets to the higher courts. That's where he's going to get his freedom, even if he gets found guilty. It might take maybe up to 5 years, though. That's the thing. It could take up to 5 years, I would guess, to really go through the system, because this stuff moves real slow. It seems like when you appeal this stuff, I don't know how fast that's gonna move. It could be anywhere from 1 to 5 years, though. I would suspect before. I would say if it takes longer than 5 years, it's just like, man, you done. Because if Durk gets found guilty, they're going to try to give him like life. They're going to try to give him life for this. The way they're trying to paint him as this monster out here that was just crashing out with his music money, with his OTF money, and standing in the streets and in the business, like using his influence and power to, have both one hand in the streets, one hand in the music business. And the way they're trying to paint him as this, Larry Hoover type, they're trying to like really act like he's just this organizer of criminals. Like this dude's like Big Meech, or the top names that they try to take down. They're trying to put Durk like that, like one of the top members ever, like one of the, like that's really him that they got. They acting like they got this dude that's just a crash out, straight up crash out. That's what they're trying to say, and I don't buy it. I don't buy it, y'all. So at this point, it's hard to say if he's going to beat his trial. There's a chance he beats a trial. I think he has a good chance of beating this. I wouldn't be surprised if he beats his charges. I'm gonna put it like that. He is. I say, when it comes down to it, he is, because the way they're overcharging him, I think that's gonna come back to haunt them. That's what's gonna actually get him free. I think that's what's gonna actually give him a chance, is that they're overcharging him. They're over making him a monster. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what's really gonna mess up their case. If they would charge, say if they would really be interested in finding out what Durk really did, I don't think, they would have much. They probably wouldn't have nothing. But they're going off of all these stories and all these false testimonies, like Durk is just this super criminal. I think that's where they're gonna run into some trouble, and they're overcharging him. And I think when it comes down to it, we'll see what the jury has to say about it. He might walk. There's a chance. I wouldn't write him off. I wouldn't even be surprised if he walks. I don't really think he's going to get his charges dropped from these motions, though, or bail. I don't think he's going to get bail or the charges dropped. The only good thing is, it sounds like he's going to be having his trial start in January 2026. So they're saying early next year, around January 20th, his trial should be starting. But then what if he gets pushed back again? It might get pushed back to the summer of 2026. Who knows? But at this point, that's his best option is just go ahead and go through this trial, and let's see if he can beat this. And if he doesn't beat it, if he gets found guilty, he's going to get a serious sentence. But then I think he still has a real good chance at an appeal with all these legal loopholes that Drew Finley is exposing. He's exposing a whole lot of stuff. So I think ultimately, if at worst case scenario, Durk probably gets, if he gets found guilty, I think he'll be out. He'll be out in 5 to 10. I'd say at the max 5 to 10. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how long it's gonna take to go through these appeals, but you know what I'm saying, and that'd be the worst case scenario too, because you don't want to put your hopes in the appeals. You want your hopes in beating trial. That's what he needs to really focus on, is beating this in trial. And then I think that's what the main focus needs to be, and I think that's what the main focus is. So yeah, that's about it for today, y'all. This has been Rap Hits. Make sure let's get 100 likes on this video. Make sure you subscribe and all that for much more content on the way, so you don't miss nothing. Also, make sure you follow Rap Hits on social media and all that. And let me see. Yeah, that's about it. I'm out.